Okay, gonna play around with this a little bit more now that I got a little bit of time here. I figure I'll stream this because I'm gonna start from scratch. What I did is I just opened up a brand new template, labeled it Gun Game. Didn't put anything on here yet, but when you start a new blank template, this is kind of what you get. You get this concrete looking grid layout, and I don't know if I like that or not. Depends on what level you're going to build it first. So what I had been doing previously was deleting the ground and importing like grass as my base structure. But I don't know if I might do like a urban map for this first one that I can place a building on. So let's just play around. Now I don't know if the sculptor, I would imagine that it would. What happens if we try to sculpt a mountain on the concrete? Let's check that out. No landscape. That's what would happen. So let's do this. Let's head over to the grid plane, go back to select mode, go to the grid planes, delete those, pitch the camera, and come down a little bit. There we go, and we'll go into the content drawer. We'll go to Fortnite, environment, landscape. Was it under landscape? Now I'm trying to remember. I went out and took the family to stuff that we had to do and got dinner. So the water stuff is in here. Where was my... Why am I not remembering where the heck my grass was? Really thought... Oh, you know what? Parking lot. Background mountain. Let's try this. Now, let me go double check something here. All right, mute this. All right, so yeah, we're going to put down some grass here in a second. Also noticed that when I was streaming shortly ago that the microphone was really low. The actual microphone level had gotten lowered. So I got that fixed now. Anyways, let's go over to landscape. Right here it defaults to the grass. And we'll hit create, and you can see now it has this green shade over the grid. And there's our grass. So if I zoom into our two players that spawn here, we can fix all that stuff later. What I want to do, let's go into selection mode, see if I can get these off the ground so that I don't lose them. I also had been installing an ocean. When I say installing, I just mean adding it to the map to surround the grass, and that was what was giving me the issue of it looking like I was underwater partially, was that I just didn't have the terrain leveled out first before I did that, or I didn't have it leveled out accurately during that time. But what I'm going to do this time is not build the ocean, because I don't need water. I don't want people swimming, especially on this map. But yeah, we can kind of just have at it now. We have this whole open area. We can build whatever we want, right? Within our memory capacity, which you can see when you go into, like, I'll call it test mode. It's not what actually. Now, full disclaimer, this is the first time I've ever used this. I installed it this afternoon. So some of the terminology that I use for working on this is not going to be accurate. But yeah, when I say installing something, I just basically mean adding it to the palette, or to the, not to the palette, but the canvas here. So anyways, this, I'm wondering if this right here, this corner, if I check the location down here, red should be X, I think, green Y, and blue Z. Yeah, blue is Z. We'll call red X because it's first, and green Y on the axis. So that should be, if I hit the grass panel in the back, let's see how many panels it gives us, or how many tiles it gives us. I wish it zoomed in and out faster, and there probably is a way to do that, but again, I got to learn all this control. So is this a 1, 2, 3? It's probably a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 12. It's a 12 tile map, which is massive for gun game for the players that we usually have. So I'm probably going to take this down to. Here's the problem: is that you could say you take it down to one's honestly probably big enough. Look how big those players look just on one tile. The problem is if you go up to two and you want it to be square, and then you're playing a 4-tile map, which that is just. I wish I could get a feel for how big the maps are that we have played on. I'm trying to size this player up to how far they would have to run. I almost think we either have to do a 1-tile or just a 2-tile and have a long map. And we might do that for our first one. We might just do a 2-tile long map. So what was it? It was 3 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was this a 16? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 16. It's not a 12. All right, so that's good. I like that more. Only reason why I care for that is I'm trying to put this in the center, right? So center would come down here, right there. So what do I want to do? Do I want to go that way? I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, so I'm going to build the map and stuff. I'm not going to finish it tonight, but that's what I'll work on is actually building the terrain before I go through any of the game structure at all, because the game structure doesn't work the way I thought it would. I thought that there would literally be a way to go in there and say, hey, I'm building a gun game map instead of just a regular Battle Royale or what's the other Fortnite, Save the World or whatever that is. But it's not that way. Apparently, from what I've looked into, I have to actually like save a section of the map for putting special items in that force the game to work like a gun game. We'll get to that towards the end. Let's just build something kind of simple. So let's go down here. And what I wanted to do, and I was having problems finding earlier, was turn this into concrete. Because I don't know exactly where that's at. I thought that it would have been, if I go to, I think it'd be under selection. Let's check here. All right, that looks like that's under the base materials, textures, concrete, dark concrete. Let's see what this does. So I'm going to drag this onto the canvas. Okay. You know what I could do? I could make the map be 4 squares in the center. And play it on the circle, maybe. What does that look like when you get in close? That... What the, what the hell? I thought that was putting actual concrete down. I bet you what it's doing is it's putting it down on the actual grass blades, the actual foliage of the grass. So let's do Control Z a couple times and undo those 2 actions. Clicking on elements. Oh, does it? No way. So confused. Does it not want to get rid of it? That's okay. Let's see if we can just fix it instead. So what we want to do, let's get into our selection, select mode, selection. Where is my landscape mode? Erase. I don't think this erase is going to do what I want it to do. See, this is the biggest problem with what I've learned with trying to get into like video game development years ago, which I gave up. I don't have time for that stuff anymore. But with like stuff like this, it's learning the tool. It's not really anything else. Got to learn where all these different tools are at in here. So, wait, did it? Oh, maybe the Control Z was working. It was just taking a while to render it because now I don't see all that messed up concrete. So I was using Control Z a lot earlier with no problems. All right, so let's try that again then. Now I couldn't tell what one of these. I'm on the paintbrush. Let's paint a swatch of grass there. So yeah, that'll paint it with dirt. I used to have a really good computer, but this computer is now 7 years old, and it's starting to show some age. I'm just checking to see what these different brush textures are here, to see if there's a concrete one. And it goes that checker mode when it has to render. Actually, is that concrete? That kind of looks like concrete. Because you would think, I mean, if that's not concrete, that might be close enough. Yeah, it looks like stone to me. I think they would put the name of it in here, but, you know, and this looks like foliage. All right, that's definitely stones, right? So if I want a concrete swatch or whatever, base tile, I can, let's pitch this up and come down. We can just paint this guy. There we go. All right. So we'll zoom out of here. These guys are near the center of the map. Go back to our selection tool. There we go. This is the center. And what I really should do is put something in the center so I know exactly where it is. But if you're looking to like add stuff in here, what I should be able to do, I believe, is go into the Fortnite folder. Get rid of the concrete filter, go into Fortnite. And then what I can do, what's under environment, landscape. Physical materials, glass, grass, ice, lava, metal, sand. I don't want any of that. I want to get something to put here in the middle, not weapons. I hate that dryer. I can hear that dryer all the way in here. What is gray box? Balconies, galleries, building. Okay, there are the building pieces for like not the warehouse, but the like facilities that were on Lonely Landing, I believe. Look pretty similar to that. Characters, wildlife. You know what, for the time being, let's just put a little boar right here. And that way he can let me know roughly where the center of the map is. Or the center of what will be my map, not the actual entire canvas. See, I'm just going to poke around on this for a few minutes while I got a little bit of time here. And then maybe this weekend or something I might be able to work on trying to get something fully fleshed out. All right, so let's play around. I really would like to turn this ground into concrete. Is there a toggle the visibility? Perfect. That is exactly what I want. I want to see if these landscape streaming options are the entire grass. And it looks like it is. Because I hit it, disappeared. So, let's do this. Let's re-grab. And actually, there should be 16 of those. That makes sense. Let me delete those again. So kind of like what we did at the beginning. And I'm going to come back into landscape mode. I'm going to go... Now, this had defaulted to the grass. Right? Well, I thought that was in landscape mode. It wasn't under paint, though. That's the problem. It was under... Oh, it wasn't landscape, was it? What the hell was that? Landscape. There we go. So, obviously that makes more sense now. Under landscape mode, to go under manage and then new, because we don't have one here. Now, this is where it had defaulted to the grass. So if I don't want grass, this is where I should be switching it to, I think, a concrete, pavement, whatever they're going to call it. There's a lot of options in here, though, so let's search for concrete. Concrete pavement. I don't know. Let's try that. Total components. 64. That seems like a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 8. I don't know why that got to 64, but I'm going to say maybe 16. Did it do that because I switched? Number of components per landscape world partition region per axis. 16 seems right on that for me. What to do if I say 4? Anything? No. All right, this total components is where I would think section size. It's kind of odd because I felt like, did we not count that and that it was 16 in total, right? 4 by 4. And this is 8 by 8. It's 68. So where is it getting the 8 by 8 sections? Oh, that's definitely smaller. That is probably a little too small. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 this way, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That didn't do what I thought it was doing. Is that the number of... Okay, those are the number of blocks I'm imagining in the green grid. If I switch this to 7 by 7, see how big these green squares are? As opposed to where if I switch it by 255, now look how many individual green squares are in a section. So that's what that controls. We'll keep that maybe 30. What was it set to at the beginning? I think it was 63 by 63. It's an odd number. Why 63? Why is it got that instead of 64? I'm sure there's a reason. All right. Total components. Number of components. I think this is what we want. There we go. That should be a 4 by 4. All right. There we go. Yeah. Now, let's look at this in comparison to our players. That looks like a pretty large map. I would almost think 2 by 2 would be good size. 3 by 3 at the most. 3 by 3. I'm going to say 3 by 3. That way this is the center, and I can branch maybe like halfway into each one of these exterior tile sets to build on, and then leave the little buffer around the edge. So I think this looks pretty good. We're going to go with this. Let's hit create and see. Oh, is that concrete? That doesn't look very concrete-y, does it? It looked like concrete a moment ago, but now, well, it looks like tile. And if it was smooth the whole way, that would be all right. Oh, did not mean to sculpt that up. What do you think, Mr. Boar? Do you like? That's kind of lame. So let's try that again. We're going to manage, new, MI concrete. In my concrete pavement, is that what we just had? Plaza concrete, I don't know, 63, 63. Okay, so I think it kept all my settings, so at least that. Yeah. Those are cloud shadows. Still not overly enthusiastic about that skin. Let's see if we search for road. I think I had already. All right, so here's there, dark. I think that might make me feel a little bit better about it. This one still has these tiles, which I don't like. Okay, this one doesn't seem like it. Okay, the bricks. You know what? We're going to run with the bricks. We'll do the brickyard. Kind of like that. All right, Mr. Whatever you are, Boar Man. Let me, before I start sculpting terrain, if I even decide to do that. I don't think I'm going to do terrain on the first one. I think I'm going to focus more on building buildings and walls and stuff like that. Let's try to get something somewhat simple. Honestly, probably if you're doing this, what you probably should do. Let me check something real quick. What you should probably do is just take one of the templates they have out there, one of the islands that are already pre-built, where you don't have to worry about any of your map itself, as far as like the terrain, water, all that jazz. You just need to get in there and put like your buildings, your I'll just save 20 seconds. You know, all of your different components, your objects, but the terrain stuff would already be built for you. That's probably where you want to start if you've never done this before, especially if you've never done any sort of game development before. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew, and that's always been a bad habit of mine. That's why one of the main reasons I didn't follow through with trying to develop my own little mini game was just because I was not willing to do a basic, you know, I wasn't willing to learn to do it. I was willing to learn the coding and stuff, but I wasn't willing to just say, okay, my first game ever is just gonna be some dumb little, you know, simple game. I wanted to jump straight into making a hardcore game, and it's too difficult to do, especially if it's not your profession. So if you're doing this, I would recommend that you just, instead of building a blank template here, describe one of the predefined islands as your world map, and then you can start adding your, what the heck do they call them? It's not objects. I mean, that's what they are. It wasn't doodles. It sounds like doodle. There's a word for it, and I forget what it is. But at any rate, let's just focus on like building a little building here. I got about 10 minutes to play around with before I'm going to get my kids in bed and then actually play some video games. All right, I've talked a lot. Let's go into my content drawer here, and what we can do is we can go back to Fortnite. Now, this is where all of our, well, most of our stuff is going to be at. Now, I haven't gone through hardly any of this stuff, and there's going to be a ton of stuff in here. So it's kind of just play around, poke around. Texture, sounds, props. So like here's a good example. We can go to Dusty Depot. And these should be the majority of the props used in like Dusty Depot. I don't want props though. I want something different. Not props. Galleries, gray box lighting, props. Was it prefab? I actually think it might have been prefab. Dusty Depot. There we go. So like for instance, if you just wanted to do something simple and say, hey, I just want to build a map. I want to throw like the Dusty Depot building, blue building in there in the middle. You just come in here, grab this guy, and drag it on onto the map. And then you don't have to go through the, you know, building all the actual building. If you know items that are, I don't want to say building a third time, but if you know that the structure was in Fortnite Battle Royale or probably even Save the World, they probably already have it prefabbed in here to where you can just drag and drop it in, place it where you want. I'm going to hit escape because I don't want Dusty Depot. But content drawer is where the majority of your stuff's going to be in here, it looks like. So we'll go Eclipsed Estate. And this is what I was working on earlier. I came in here and I was like, oh, you know, what do I want? What's in parkour? Okay. The power plant. And I was like, I could do a power plant, maybe like the Flush toilet factory or whatever. Princess Castle's pretty cool. But then I saw the prison, and that kind of took me back to like the first time I ever played Fortnite. We always tried to fort up on the prison if it was in the final circle. So that's why I was working on that earlier. We do need something that follows along with our brick layout. I could do these Pueblo residential houses. Don't look too bad. They can go on some stone brick. But let's keep looking around a little bit. Racetrack. There's retail row. Roadside. Some a fast food themed gun game could be pretty cool too. We might do that. We might do that for our first one. Just throw a couple fast food buildings on here. The ruins could be cool. Like it's so cool that they have all these different doodads is the word that I was looking for, not doodles. Haunted courtyard. All the seasonal stuff. Yeah, so tons of stuff in here to look through and play with. Shifty shafts. Sloppy shores. Ooh, this bridge. I want this bridge. I'll tell you, I 100% want to have some bridge battles. So let's grab the bridge. We'll just drop it on the map. We can move it. Now, if you're not used to navigating 3D space, it can get a little bit tricky on you as well. So what I personally recommend doing when you're moving stuff, you can see when I dragged and dropped it, it was smart enough to put it on the 0 plane on the ground. But if I start moving it around and I don't know where I'm at in 3D space, you could accidentally move it underground, so on and so forth. If I just grab, so I've selected, this actually only selected that one part of that bridge, which is problematic. Now let's also take a moment here to kind of scroll back and look, since I've played Battle Royale and I know, how big this bridge is in the game. This will give me a better scale on, is my map size in total big enough? And I think that it is, only because this is my first map that I'm going to build and I don't want to overdo myself. But seeing that bridge on there and how much room that's taking up, I would probably, if this weren't my first map, add one more row of tiles on the perimeter. Open it up a little bit more. It doesn't mean you have to use all that space for in your game, right? You can build walls and stuff to where, you shrink down the available play area that's on your canvas. But at any rate, let me come in here. Let me see if I can even select this stuff without selecting. You know what? The easier way to do that is to use this. What are they calling this thing over here? The outliner. So if I come in here, I'm guessing if I click on maybe the star, no. Toggles where this object is pinned, always loaded in the editor. Okay, I might just have to manually select it. So I'm going to select the first item inside the Slappy Shores bridge. And I will just go all the way down to the bottom where it ends. And I will hold shift and left click on that. And that'll select the entire thing. And now this way I can actually move it. So what I was going to recommend doing, since I know that I don't want to move it on the Z axis. I don't want it going up into the sky. And I don't want it going down through the ground. I like where it's at on that. But I may need to move it around where it's at on my map horizontally on the X and Y axis. So to do that and not risk accidentally messing up that Z axis, I actually wonder if you can lock the Z axis. So down here on the right hand side, you have this transform section of your details of whatever you have selected. And this is where you can move stuff if you prefer doing it with numbers instead of doing it visually. I do this a lot when it comes to rotating stuff. I don't like rotating stuff manually. If I know I want to spin it around 90 degrees, you can just come in here and spin around 90 degrees. So I'm wondering, now here's the problem. I was going to say I wonder if I could lock all these items on the Z-axis, because technically this isn't at 0 degrees on the Z-axis. Only the bottom objects are, because these are multiple. This isn't one bridge. These are a bunch of different objects that make up a bridge. So technically all these girders and stuff are not on the 0 axis at all. And then what I was trying to do was come in here to the location part of this and hope that I could lock down this blue or Z axis for all these items so they don't move up and down. Could have just said that in the first place. But what I do like to do if I like to move stuff, okay, well, this is a little bit left based on the way that we're facing right now where I want, because remember our bore is pretty much center map. So what I can do is I can just grab this red arrow and now I can drag that and it's only going to move on that axis. Now, if I wanted to, I could grab the white dot that's really hard for you to see right now in the middle, probably. Whoa. That moved my... Why did that break my bridge? I'm going to undo. Now, that's... Why? That's so confusing that it's doing that. If I have all these items selected and I move the one axis, then they should all move together. You know what? I bet you these beams have to hit. I'm sitting here pointing with it with my offhand, but these concrete beams that touch the ground, I bet you they have to snap into a certain area. And it's almost like saying, it's almost like saying I'm thirsty. It's almost like saying, like the concrete pillars are able to move every half space as to where the girders can only move every full space. And maybe that's why it's all getting, look, the more I move it though, the more it gets messed up. So we'll just undo that. Because what I should have been able to do was grab that, red handle and just move that on that. Let's try the green one. Try moving it on the other axis. Looks like it's doing the same thing. Cause see how see how the concrete's all moving, but the girders aren't. That's kind of lame. There's got to be something. I'm pretty sure I selected it all. Let's undo real quick before anything, so I don't break it. All right. All right. Well. Anyways, let's try to maybe even grab. Let's see if that makes a difference now. Now here is. Okay, undo that. That does make me feel better. Maybe it's because I didn't actually have the Slappy Shores Bridge top drawer selected here on this. Maybe that's why it was. Let's see. That looks like it's moving everything even. Okay, because I was about to say that's confusing. If you have the entire structure selected, it should all move in unison. But what I can do now is you can see I can move this over here. And now I can move the other axis there and kind of get the bridge right in the center of the map. Close enough. You know, our bore is right under the middle. Maybe the bridge could go a little bit more left. It's hard to see this stuff in 3D space sometimes. Nope, because it can only move one more item. So do I want it left or do I want it right of center? Doesn't really matter to me because it's all perspective. So let's get that there. So cool. Now we got a bridge, which I like. And what I can do now, let's go back into my content drawer. That's a concrete bridge. I like the steel beam bridge. Do we want a factory, a slurp room, Slappy Shores water plant? What I thought I was going to end up doing most likely is going into, can't remember, was it Greasy Grove? Is that what it was called? Whatever it was, where all the restaurants were at. But here are the wood shanties, Wild West. Can build a Wild West map. That'd be pretty fun. Weeping Woods. Viking Outpost. Could drop the ship in here. Drop the yacht. Now I'm sure that probably has a lot of components in it. So it might take it a second to drop on there. Let me check my messages. It's actually 9 o'clock, so I'm going to be stopping in a second. I got on this later than anticipated. All right, so there's our yacht. I mean, it actually dropped it in a pretty pretty decent spot so I could keep it there. But the yacht alone is its own map. And I felt like it was pretty adequate for 3 players. So dropping a yacht on top of a map that's going to have all the other buildings, I don't think is such a fantastic idea. So I just want to see what it looked like dropping it on there. We're going to delete it, or I hit Control Z. I want to see if it gets rid of it. I know it might take a second. Because that yacht probably has a ton of items. So there's the Slappy Shore Bridge. Player 1, there's my spawn points. Get familiar with your outliner, because I didn't look at this at all earlier, and it's really making a lot more sense that I can... What is this? File is checked out. So now I can come in here and just select... Look at this. My gosh, yes, yeah, it has so much stuff. We can do that and we can just hit delete. At least I think we can. I'm sitting here giving tutorials on something I've never used before. But yeah, what I would like to do is maybe build up some terrain to where this ramp, ramps up to the bridge, or maybe even make a little zip line or something like that up. But I'll just have to play around with this stuff. Let me get one more thing on here. Sweaty Sands. That's pretty cool. The Citadel. Citadel could be cool. Yeah, so here's all the tilted towers. I could start throwing tilted tower buildings in here too, you know. But what I really wanted to do, I think, was do the military, mega city, movie set, roadside. That's the one. 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to find just like the fast food stuff. So one, you have dumpling restaurant, Der Burger. I'm gonna count the ice cream shop. Just not counting gas stations. Tacos is 4. Not the stand. Not the truck and Oasis. So Uncle Pete's Pizza Pit. So we could build like a little map here that has the bridge in the middle. Maybe 5 of these restaurant buildings that get connected by it. Let's try Uncle Pete's Pizza Pit first. Now I wonder, not that it matters, but I do wonder if I were to get on here and or not if I were to get on here, I wonder if there's a way for me to change the Z axis here. Like right there it is. You can see it's going up on top of the bridge. So if there's 5, maybe we put 1 in the middle and then 1 at each compass direction, northeast, southwest. That would get us our 5. But the bridge is the middle. I don't know. But we're going to drop the pizza place on here, whatever the hell that's called. And what I want to do first off is just kind of, I want to get it lined up. I want to get that lined up with the bridge real quick. So what I'm going to do is use my outliner. There's the pizza pit. And that goes through there. And that way, and you can't just always eyeball this stuff either, because again, navigating this 3D space is not that simple. Because like right there, that looks like that's pretty lined up. You gotta give yourself perspective to know whether it's lined up or not. And I'm going to do that by coming underneath the bridge and trying to get myself pretty well in the middle of these pillars by having them have the same amount of distance on the left and right, and try to get this looking as straight as possible, best I can, you know. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, the good thing is this only moves, so it's like, do I want it there or do I want it there? And for some reason this, you scared the shit out of me, poor. That looks better to me. All right, so pretty cool. Let's go back into the content drawer. We will grab, interesting enough, I wonder if I can even rotate. I don't think that I can rotate. Can I rotate this building as a single unit? Because it's not a single unit, so I'm wondering if I have all the items selected and I start rotating it, does it know whether or not that it should rotate them all respectively of each other, or if it's just going to rotate every individual item, which would obviously do no good, it would break the building. We're going to find out. So let's go over here to the rotate. It says multiple values. I'm just going to put 90 in here. Yep, so you can see that completely destroyed that building because it rotated every individual item 90 degrees. So we'll undo that with a Control Z. Here, take a minute. All right, did you not take my undo command? Edit, undo, set rotation. There we go. All right, so there's my pizza pit. Let's go back into our content drawer. I'm going to drop the fast food restaurant. Why did you just rotate again? There we go. All right, again, content drawer. Let's grab Der Burger. To be honest with you, I would have rather I would have rather my pizza building, I want everything facing the bridge. So what I need to do is get myself exactly kind of where I was. Like this kind of perspective over here, where I'm looking over the bridge in the direction that I want my building to face back toward, is my guess. So let's grab our pizza pit again. Get it down here. And I'm okay to see now. There has to be a rotate option when dropping this on the map. I refuse to believe that there's not. We're going to find out. We're going to put that right there. Select and rotate objects. There we go. That's what we want. Now we can get this facing us. Get that 90 degrees. And now we can put this back on. Is that smart enough to grab the whole thing? Oh my gosh. My life. See, you gotta learn the tools, because I didn't know I could just click on that and then it would automatically move all the components respective of each other. Same way that it did the rotate. So if you select the parent, I don't know what it's called, but in a normal folder structure, this would be the parent folder, where these would be the items inside the folder. So if you select that, and you can tell where it is because it's nested out to the left in this tree, you can see how everything below it indents, meaning that it belongs in the first unindented item above it. You can see when I hit this arrow, it'll collapse all those. But if you select that, now if you use these little buttons up here, like the rotate and the move, it all moves respectively of each other. See, everything moves, not just one piece or two pieces. But we'll put that right there. And I'm thinking what I might do is maybe build a couple different levels. So like how the pizza place now is at the very bottom. Obviously the bridge is closer to what will be the top of my map as far as the z-axis goes. Maybe two of the buildings on the other sides. We might put one like a little bit up and then maybe one even up higher. Kind of give a little bit of volume to the level, I think. Let's go ahead and grab a couple more restaurants here. Let's grab Der Burger. It will go across from the pizza place. Again, I was tempted to hit escape and re-add this to the map when I was already in the view to know that it's lined up where I want it. Not overly worried about that because I can move it. So let's drop Der Burger there. And I'll come here, use my right mouse button to rotate my camera to get on this 90-degree axis to it. Actually, I put that pretty all right, to be honest with you. Let's go up here. Trying to make sure the bottom of my screen right here needs to be as flush as possible with the edge of that item for me to know I'm looking as straight as possible at it for lining it up. And same thing as before, what I want to do is I'm going to come over to my outliner here on the right hand side. We'll scroll up to Der Burger, collapse it, select it, hit my rotate, and then I'll grab this blue axis because that's the axis I want to rotate it on. Maybe confusing to you if you're not familiar with working in 3D space as well, is that the z-axis is the axis going up and down, and I'm rotating on that axis because I'm rotating around it. I don't, probably a dumb thing to say to a lot of people. It's kind of a duh moment, but for some of us, or for some people, not so much. And I remember it kind of confused me when I first started learning to rotate around objects, that we need to rotate around that z-axis. So, and they do a great job. This tool right here, the way they put the red, green, and blue axis on this rotate tool makes it very easy to understand. Like, regardless of whether you're calling it X, Y, or Z, doesn't matter. You can tell by the way it's shaped what you're rotating around. All right, so let's grab that, rotate that -90. And this front, when we're looking at this building right now, Der Burger, the front of the building right in front of us, bottom left, is the pivot point of this rotation. And you can see that because that's the point that this is pivoting that Z axis on. So we'll pivot it 90 degrees. We'll grab the move tool, and I'm just going to get my camera over here because I figured this was a little bit too close to the edge of the map. So we'll bring this in a little bit, probably about right there. I think that's good. Maybe this is... I don't think this is much bigger of a map than what I typically play on, to be honest. All right. You know what I should do? I hate to say this. I think that bridge needs to be 90 degrees rotated. Because whatever two buildings are on the bottom level, you should probably be able to get to them without going up the bridge. Because whatever... Like, if I were to bring both these buildings I already placed on here, level with the bridge where you run straight out one, you go right across the bridge over to the other, that's kind of how I want that bridge to play. As to where if you were coming out these two buildings I haven't added yet, excuse me, you could still do the same thing with them being on the ground level because you can go under the bridge. Now, technically, you can go under the bridge here too, but then these roads don't make any sense. I'm going to have to ramp up to them. I'm not going to worry about that. I'll be on here all night if I sit here and keep nerding out over this stuff. Let me just get my last couple buildings. We definitely want a taco place. And the good news is that if I do decide, like, crap, like I need to like switch which buildings face which way or whatever, doesn't matter because I can just grab them and use that rotate and move tool and spin the bridge if my heart desires. So same thing here. Let's get this lined up kind of to the center. We're going to zoom in a little bit. And grab that and keep moving it right. And pitch this up and come down. Yep. Looks pretty all right to me, to be honest with you. All right. Let's pitch it up. Or pitch it down and go up. And then we'll put one more building in here. And I'll tell you what I'll do. We're going to be smart, I think. Probably not. Typically not. I'm going to say not because I didn't have to rotate that taco building. And I thought it's because I was facing the direction that I placed it. And I don't think that's a true statement because I feel like some of those other buildings I did the same exact thing on and I still had to rotate them. So I probably will still have to rotate this one as well. Let me get kind of down here. Place this last building and then I'm going to end the stream and actually go play Fortnite so that I'm not on here all night. So what else do we want? Do we want to do the dumpling restaurant? I think so, right? So we got tacos, burgers, pizza, and Asian cuisine. That looks pretty center. Relatively. Now, again, same thing. What I'm going to do is come over here into my outliner, collapse that. I like to keep all of my items collapsed. It's just easier to navigate. I can always open them up. We'll grab Dumpling Restaurant, and we will hit the rotate button up here on my little toolbar. That brings up my rotate, and I will just do another... I'll have to do 180 on this because it's facing the opposite way. Which makes sense because the building on the opposite side of this that I had just previously done didn't have to rotate at all because they all start off facing, I guess, true north. I don't know which direction they pick, but that's what we'll call it. Now let's also switch this over to the move tool, and then I can just grab my red axis, move it to the left. Green axis, move it this way a little bit. Let's get our camera a little bit better position. There we go. So I think that looks pretty good. So I don't know why I just hit Z. I'm so used to working like Photoshop and stuff. I went to zoom. So let's pan this out. Now, obviously this bridge doesn't seem like it makes much sense right here because it's just a bridge in the middle of nothing. but I think it'll make sense that I can start elevating these buildings to different. I don't want any of these two buildings to be on the same exact level. I want them to. I want you to add volume to the map by adding a little bit of height here and there. And then I do want battles to take place underneath. So one of these buildings will be pretty low. A second one across from it, like, so let's say the taco building is going to stay where it's at right now, ground level. The dumpling building will come up a little bit, and then the burger building will come up a little bit from that, and the pizza building will come up. It'll be the highest. And it's not a huge difference. Like the ground level of the pizza building will be slightly above the level of this road on this bridge. Maybe like relating it to real life, like 5 feet more in the air, as to where the burger building's like level with the bridge, and then like this building is halfway in between the level of the bridge and the level of the actual ground. Just kind of a tier system. And I don't think this map is that huge, but we're going to find out. So let's save this. I don't have any way of getting up on that other than the creative mode letting me do it. But I feel pretty good about this so far. If the size of the map feels good, I'll be honest with you, I'll probably just build some walls around the outside. All right, so let's do that real quick. Let's launch the session and hop in and take a look and see how it feels like it plays. One second. All right. Oh, I didn't realize I had my dang volume up this whole time too. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. Get out of here. I just want to run around in here real quick with the character so I can... you know what? One thing I didn't check is that the spawn point is like halfway inside the bridge. So hopefully it doesn't kill my guy just spawning into the game. But we'll just check the size and feel of this right now, and then I'm going to shut down the creative mode and go play. I don't want that on either. I don't know why that bright ass light was on. Come on. Come on, you can do it. It takes a while to do this to launch into the game. The cool thing is, like, once you've done all of like your terrain building, like you have your map and you're just working on like your doodads, objects, whatever you want to call them, I'm pretty sure you can do all that from within the actual game editor itself instead of on that map editor. Now you can do them on the map editor as far as I can tell as well, but we'll see. All right, so yeah, you can see it spawned me here. I need to get back into that game though. There we go. There's my spawn. Oh, you know what? Okay, it's not that high. But that might kill me just jumping off that. So let's see if this feels like this map would be too big. Just overall, you know what? This building, I believe, needs to come up. I didn't realize when I placed that, that it is, sorry, I don't even know how to crouch because I don't ever play on, thought it should have been control. If it's not control, is it alt? Oh, fuck. I don't know how to crouch. I don't ever play on mouse and keyboard, so. You know what? This might have been smart of me to put a boar in here. Oh, you bastard boar. You were supposed to be my wheels. Oh, yeah. Same thing with the pizza place. So when I added these things to the canvas, it looked to me like they were added to the to be flush with the ground. Now it looks like they're probably all flush with the canvas ground, and maybe putting the bricks down is over the top of it. But that's not a problem. We can just grab those with the move tool and move them on the blue Z axis and get them back up. But if you were playing with, say, 3 other people, lobby of 4, does this look like it's too much room? It might be. I don't think the overall canvas size is too large. I think I just need to move these buildings in closer to the bridge. And to be honest with you, I was about to say I kind of want to deconstruct this bridge and make it a T-shaped bridge instead of just a straight bridge, to where you could get to all 4 of these buildings and just stay on the bridge level, but then there'd be no point of having the bridge. There'd be no point of having the ground. So I'm not 100% sure about that. Velociraptor? Can you even hear me? I don't even know if you can hear me. I wonder if I can actually invite anyone to this. I don't think that I can. Loser McButtface, are you in here? If so, I can't hear you. Change nickname. I don't think it really matters. I'm going to shut this down in a second and load up the actual game. I just wanted to get a feel for whether or not I was biting off more than I could chew size-wise. Giggity. Size-wise, neg. Okay, well, I'm going to shut this down in a second and launch up the PlayStation so we can play. I got to get Kyra in bed real quick, so I'll be back in a minute. I just want to check the size of this map real quick. So what I was planning on doing was building a little map that had like 4 restaurants, have a restaurant battle, but I'm going to move them closer because this does seem slightly bigger than what I want. But we'll do that next time. Like I said, I'll be in here all day if I sit here and keep playing with this. UNICEF? Alright, let me shut this down, grab a drink, I'll be right back.